Moses had spent his entire life in search of the Promised Land. From Egypt, Moses traveled for more than 40 years through the desert, where it was revealed to him by God that his destiny was in Canaan, as was that of his people. God had told Moses to leave Egypt in search of a prosperous land full of riches for the people of Israel, who lived in the shadows of the Egyptian kingdom. When he arrived at the land he had dreamed of and for many years sought, his people were welcomed, the gates of Canaan were opened, and his people celebrated that at last the land promised by God was given to them. They thanked Moses and asked for his blessing. All the tribes saw him as a being of faith in the land. Moses was happy for what he had achieved because for all his life he worshipped God and did everything he asked when he spoke to him. However, when Moses wanted to enter Canaan, he was denied because his entrance to the promised land was forbidden. Moses wept bitterly, and in spite of not entering, he desired with all his faith to see the land he had sought for so many years. God then appeared and said to him, "Moses, you have succeeded in delivering my blessing to your people, but you are not to enter Canaan, for you have not fulfilled all that I have commanded of you." Moses, as a faithful servant of God, accepted his judgment and bid his people farewell, hoping that they would not be rebellious like their forefathers. "Moses, you must go to Mount Nebo, and when you are at the top, you will be able to see the land that has been given to your people, and there you will die." So Moses went up there as his God had told him, and in spite of his advanced age, he made it after several moments of discouragement. When he reached the top of the mountain, he raised his weary eyes, and at last saw Canaan. In his eyes the city was perfect and blessed. He was moved by what he had achieved. He rejoiced that his people would at last have peace and wealth. God had shown him what he had promised his ancestors and said to Moses, "Today you have seen what your ancestors sought for years, although you will not be able to enter, and like your brother, today you will perish." So Moses slowly lay down on the ground, laid aside his staff and prepared for death to take him. Until his last breath he held on to the hope that God would have mercy and ascend him to the heavens by his side. Finally, he perished on the summit of the mountain. God took the body of his servant, and with the help of several angels, buried him in a secret place. Satan, from his throne in the underworld, wished to have power over Moses and thus work against the kingdom of heaven. He was eager to possess the body of the prophet and corrupt the people, turning them into rebels and leading them to renounce the worship of God, and most of all, to prevent the resurrection of Moses in the future. Satan came to the land of Moab, and there he began to search for the Moses body, since no one knew the place of his burial. Satan's objective was clear, for he was completely against God, so he wanted to lead astray the people of Israel, using the body of Moses. For some time, he searched everywhere for the body of the prophet without success, until one day his anger overcame him and he went in search of the Archangel Michael. He sought the assistance of Michael since he had helped God bury the body of Moses in an arcane place, in the land of Moab. When Satan found Michael, he furiously claimed the body of Moses and told the archangel to urgently reveal the place where he had been buried. He warned that if he did not do so, he would face the power of the evil one. Michael then asked, "What is your mission with the body of the servant of God?" Satan told Michael that his ultimate goal was uncertain even to him, but his main purpose was to use the tomb of Moses as a powerful tool in destroying the faith of the people. Michael was enraged and he confronted Satan with great force, unsheathing his mighty sword in order to make Satan retract. Satan cunningly compelled Michael to follow him, away from the throne of God, thus forcing Michael to continue alone in the battle, without the aid of God. For several days the combat between both beings was intense. The divine warrior of God unleashed his great power that was given to him in the heavens, although he did not try to finish off Satan because God had not yet given him that order. According to the scriptures, the Lord of the heavens had already set the date of Satan's death a long time ago. Therefore, Michael could not yet put an end to the demon. He could only try to prevent him from completing his ruthless mission, which was to steal the body of Moses. Satan was dedicated to fulfilling his demonic objective, and he urgently desired to possess the corpse of the prophet. While Satan and Michael were in battle over Moses, the people of Israel were already closer to expanding their worship in the hands of a new prophet, in their new home in Canaan. Satan wished to corrupt the people of Israel and decrease the number of followers and worshippers of God, so that they would forget the commandments taught by their forefathers. He longed for the people of Israel to worship other gods, and he thought that bringing them the body of Moses would be the best way to achieve his goal. Upon leaving Egypt, many saw the prophet as a great leader, a noble man who never sinned. Many even knelt before him, since Moses was the only man who actually saw God in person, so he was the only one who knew his face. Just as the Egyptians kept and worshipped their dead, Satan wanted the Jews to do the same with the body of Moses, causing them to be denied salvation or entrance to paradise. Making the remains of the prophet into an object of worship would be considered a sin by the Most High, and this would then allow Satan to take all their souls to his kingdom. Satan finally understood where the tomb of Moses was, and in front of the tomb, Satan provoked Michael into yet another battle. "This is only the beginning, and today you will see your end," said Satan, as he was getting closer to almost touching Moses' tomb. But Michael was alert and attacked with his powerful celestial sword. Satan tried to attack with his powerful claws, but Michael wore a powerful armor that made him almost immortal. Michael, as the protector of the people of Israel designated by the highest, knew that Satan would set in motion his plan through the corpse of Moses. He realized that if he was defeated by Satan's demonic power, he would not be able to fulfill the duty that God had entrusted to him. The battle was almost endless because the strength of both Satan and Michael was enormous and devastating. Undoubtedly, the battle unleashed the great power of the Prince of Darkness. The insistence and fight of Satan was so great that Michael could hardly withstand it. However, he still faced the terrible demon with great force, and in the end, he pointed directly at Satan and invoked God, saying, "The Lord rebuke you. I will not prepare a judgment of curse against you, because in the days of judgment you will see your end." Satan could no longer endure the rebuke, and he gave up the fight against Michael. But it is said that his intentions have not yet been forgotten. Michael recovered the body of Moses, and it is believed that he buried it in a place where no one has been able to find it, and that only God and Michael know its location.